So we are here at New York Comic Con, and right now we are talking with author Chuck Wendig. We are going to jump right into asking him all about the process of writing, because he is a pro. First of all, I want to ask you about Star Wars.
I've been living and breathing Star Wars since I was a little kid, and the great thing too is my son is now getting into Star Wars. There's this vibe with Star Wars. A small group of characters can change the entire galaxy.
Yeah.
You don't need this colossal movement to change everything. Sometimes you just need you and a couple of your scoundrels and friends and Wookiees. I kind of asked almost as a joke on Twitter, I would like to one day write a Star Wars novel. I will make this wish. And then that happened. Suddenly I had a book I had to write, and I had a 4-year-old who was in the house who was not very excited about giving me time. We had a shed built in the woods, and it became my writing shed, and I would literally go out into the shed every day. Mostly about fitting the book into the schedule more than changing my process for it.
Do you juggle multiple things at once where you're working on a variety of narratives?
If it's a first draft, I focus on that first draft only. In the afternoons, I can sometimes edit a different story, or I can write something in the comics realm.
You mentioned in an interview on StarWars.com back in the summer that one of the things you do is you let your characters breathe.
With Star Wars, it's a little different. It was true of the characters that I made up. In terms of the more canonical legacy characters, they had already been living and breathing in my head since I was 4 years old. But for me, it's mostly just a case of taking for a test drive on the page and giving them different scenarios and seeing how that plays out. A lot of that stuff gets discarded, but there's inevitably stuff that doesn't.
You mentioned Twitter a little while ago, and I'm glad, because you are very active on Twitter, and
Yeah. That's a way to say I have a problem, isn't it? Is this my intervention? A lot of publishers and a lot of advice about social media is sort of like how you plan and steer. I don't do any of that. It's like there's a plane, and then I'm in it, and then I jump out of it. And then that's my Twitter feed, is me falling to the ground. The goal for me is just to try to be the best version of myself online as possible.
Right.
And sort of always use that as my governing principle. Like, is this the best face I can put forward or the worst? People can write and not like my book, and I don't want to get into their business
Right.
about that.
Well,
that is their right, and it's not my conversation. But with Star Wars, it became something different, at least in terms of the social component of the social makeup and the inclusiveness of the Star Wars universe. To me, that felt like less than a review about me and more of about a social commentary that I can push back on.
And speaking of diversity, you include a lot of different people in your books. Sometimes that's where the detractors on Twitter are coming from,
Sure.
people that are not ready
Yeah.
for that. Do you feel like it's getting better, or do you sometimes feel like it's getting worse?
Well, it's getting better, which makes it worse. It sounds weird. I have put it where when the dinosaurs saw the meteor coming, they got louder and squawkier and barked at it and moved their little tiny T-Rex arms. They're just dealing with a big shift.
Right.
A big political narrative social shift that they're not really prepared to deal with, and so they're a little mad about it.
You also teach writing, and you write a lot about writing.
The reason I teach writing is because I need to be taught writing. My blog and all my writing posts and everything that I do, and the writing books that I write, are really me screaming at me about me. And if other people can glean wisdom from that or usefulness, then that's great.
You are smattered all over different genres and styles. Does one of those feel like home to you, like the most natural writing?
To me, it's always finding the horror of a situation, not necessarily as a genre, but as an emotion, as sort of a mood, as a tenor to the piece. All my books are mostly horror books, even if they're not called that.
Last question.
Yeah.
You have 60 seconds to talk to a new writer, and your life depends on that writer becoming successful.
Oh, yeah.
What do you tell them in that minute?
I just say nothing and I let them perish in the void, and then I take their contract. No, I just tell them to finish what they started. Finish what you begin, because you learn a lot by finishing, even if it's terrible.
Where can people find you?
TerribleMinds.com is my blog, and I'm on Twitter, first name, last name, Chuck Wendig.
Perfect. That was Chuck Wendig. This is the guy that knows writing. So we hope you learned a little bit, and you can go learn more stuff at his site.
Thanks, guys.